So, school is supposed to be all about learning. So, why use games in the classroom? Have you ever heard someone ask this and wondered to yourself, well, of course, kids love games and so do adults. So, how do you incorporate the use of games in your classroom with the purpose of learning? All right. Well, hello, aloha. I'm Fleur, the face behind Aloha Monday Teaching, and I help middle school science teachers like you and me be more intentional, prepared, and refreshed for Monday and any day. Today, we're talking all about using games in the classroom. So, this is going to be pretty quick, just how to use games as mainly a review with your students in the science classroom. This is based on on this blog post, which everything will be linked below, so you can have you can find everything very easily. Any books I mention, or websites, or blogs, or products, anything is linked below. And let's get started. So we are going to talk about why using games in the classroom and 3 types of games that you can use in the classroom. All right, so why use games? Well, games increase student engagement. Games are fun, and reviewing material strengthens neural connections in students' brains. So if you think about the brain, the amygdala is the part of the brain that tells us if something is a threat. It like reacts. So we want students' amygdala to be calm. We want them to be in a happy state, right? So when you say like, hey, we're going to play a game, they think, ooh, this is fun. It's like automatic engagement. Um, so that's like one reason like why it helps the brain. Another reason, when you practice material within 24 hours, it helps like link in those the information in the students' brains, making the neural links. So these are, and the games are a fun way to do that. Okay. So let's talk about different kinds of games. This is probably something you already do in your classroom, playing review and trivia games. Show what you know about games. I have a few of those in my store. I'll link that below. And it's like a trivia game. The whole class, they have a lot of fun with it. Kahoot is another one, Gimkit and Bluekit. So those are all on the computer. If you haven't used any of those yet, I highly recommend them. Personally, I prefer Gimkit, but I also like Bluekit. They're pretty similar. They just have different types of games. You can ask the same kinds of questions as in Kahoot, but there's more variety in what kind of game the kids are playing. It makes it a lot of fun. And there's free versions for all of these, and there's also paid versions. You can play vocabulary games with the kids. So you can play Quizlet is another electronic. It's on the computer, and they can log in. They can play on their own. There's different games they can do individually on Quizlet, or you can do a Quizlet live, which is very interesting to say the least. It's fun, but it can get very competitive. You can play memory with the kids. Just have some flashcards ready or some matching cards, and then just make a game of memory out of it. They can quiz each other. You can also play bingo. So here's a simple way that you can make bingo cards. Print out a like 5x5 table, a blank table. Put a list of words on the screen, and students will write in the words anywhere on their bingo table. And then you play bingo. You just read out some definitions, and then they mark it on um, their paper. You can also use dry erase pockets if you make your own bingo cards, and then they just put the card in here and mark it with a dry erase marker so that you can reuse your bingo cards. Task cards are another way that you can play games in the classroom. You can add task cards to any board game that you have. And if you want to watch the video about task cards, I'll have that linked below. But you probably have board games in your classroom, like Sorry, Guess Who, like any Jenga, that would be really fun to do. So just put some task cards with the board game. Students have to answer the question correctly first before they get to actually take their turn. And that way they are learning while they are playing a fun game. So those are just 3 ideas of how, like, the types of games to play in your classroom. Review games, make some vocabulary games, or task card games. And it helps the brain in different ways. It helps them stay in like a happy state, and it also makes neural connections by using this as review and practice. And now it is your turn. All right, so how can you add games to your regular routine? If you're just doing review games, can you add a game somewhere else throughout your week or two? And what games have you played? What games will you add to your units? I would love to hear your ideas, so go ahead and comment below. And while you're at it, check out some of these other videos that may help you in your science classroom. Thank you.